Assalamu alaikum and greetings to you all. This is Sabina Victor, the CEO of Impart and your presenter for today's session on leader and leadership. So, for those who are watching this presentation on YouTube, are requested to write their responses in the comments section. Thank you. So let's proceed with the presentation. Now, in today's session, I will be telling you about the introduction. I will also share an icebreaker activity. I will also talk about the definition of a leader, differences between a leader and a boss. Then leadership, is it similar or different from leader? Then is leadership styles, then is importance of leader for an organization or a workplace, then a Padlet activity for the qualities of a good leader, then is activity that is ranking of leadership dimensions, and last but not the least is the conclusion. Now, for the participants of the October sessions, there are two questions which I want you to give the answers in the comments section. First is, I want you to have a look at the pictures of these renowned leaders. And I want you to answer this question. When you think about great leaders, who comes to your mind? And what has made these personalities good leaders? Is it their position or something else? Moving on. Now, I had conducted a sort of a research with a group of educators and teachers, and there were 36 in total, and I received 36 votes. And the question that I had asked them was, do you consider the head of your institution a leader or a boss? And do you know what response I got? I had 31 votes coming for a leader and 5 votes coming for a boss, which means that majority of the research participants, they considered their head of the institution or organization a leader, whereas 5 votes came for those who felt that theirs was a boss. So moving on. Now, before I come to the definition of a leader, I would like to talk about the background, the historical background of leader and leadership. The concept of leader and leadership was present long before Old English was spoken and has been associated with religious, political, and military figures. According to an article titled Evolution of Leadership Theory by Ben Myra and Argugula, they say, and I quote, there is no one definition or particular leadership approach that is considered universal, and efforts continue in trying to identify what makes an effective leader, unquote. They further added that the term leadership is thought to have originated in the 18th and 19th centuries, while the word leader was used far back in 1300s. According to a LinkedIn article on leadership, the word is derived from an Old English Latin word that is ledere, which means one who leads, with a noun being associated with it, that is leden, which means to guide. So today, leadership is often thought in terms of business and management. It is used to describe people who influence, inspire passion, motivate within organizational settings. People who are goal setters and use their skills to guide their team to achieve their goals or targets. So moving on, yes, there was something I wanted to add over here related to the previous slide, and I will share it with you all now. We know that a leader has many responsibilities, and they tend to fall in the same categories. That is a coach, a guide, and inspire. Now, what are all these things that I am talking about? Now, as a coach, a good leader strives to develop their employees and teams through coaching and mentoring. This can be done through one-to-one meetings, and most of coaching leaders uh, up into supporting them for the goals of the organization. Second is guide. Leaders also guide their employees, and this comes through building and organizing teams, then is setting goals, devising ways to achieve those goals, leading employees therefore, through the process. A leader can guide employees through difficult conversations or various ways to solve problems. And lastly is inspire. One undervalued role of a leader is to inspire. A great leader can leverage their storytelling, empathy, and communication skills to inspire their employees. So moving on, sorry, I come to the differences between a boss and a leader. Now, as you can see in your screens, that is, a boss is self-absorbed. Now, when I say bosses are self-absorbed, I mean bosses are mostly interested in themselves and they tend to ignore the needs of the team or their employees. Whereas a leader leads by example. When I say that the leader leads by example, I mean that the actions which are projected by the leader are those positive qualities which they expect to see in their employees or teams. Then a boss dictates, whereas a leader facilitates, a leader guides, a leader mentors and coaches their team or employee who may be struggling in certain portion or of the task or who needs some sort of guidance in order to get a problem solved. A boss believes in the me policy. That means everything should be focused on themselves. They want to take the credit for the task which is completed. Whereas a leader believes that if a certain task is completed, if the organization is functioning well, it is not due to a one-man team, it is due to teamwork. Then a boss commands, whereas a leader requests or asks. A boss intimidates in the sense that they threaten, they use the threat card in order to get the work done. And if the work is not completed or it does not meet the deadlines, then that particular employee can also lose his or her job. Whereas a leader inspires, and I just shared with you earlier in what way a leader inspires. Then a boss likes to talk more, whereas a leader is a good listener who likes to take out time to listen to the grievances of the team or the employees. Then the boss focuses on how does this affect me? Again, the whole focus is on, on themselves, whereas the leader focuses on how certain things will affect the team. A boss is more judgmental, whereas a leader will always support and encourage their employees. Then is a boss exercises control or authority, whereas a leader influences their actions, their way of talking, the communication. It inspires others to follow them. Then is bosses are more focused on results, or we can say result oriented, whereas the leaders are more focused on the process. That means how should the task get completed, or they are more focused, they are more processed oriented. Then his bosses are more concerned with earning profits, whereas the leaders operate according to the requirements or the vision and mission of an organization, of an institution. Bosses tend to drive others. When I say drive others, it means that they also go to the extent of terminating people who they feel are not meeting the job requirements. As you must have seen on social media, there are many teachers who come with their outcry about losing their jobs or leaving their jobs because of certain managerial issues in terms of salaries, in terms of work ethics, or in terms of environment, or in terms of being insulted at their workplaces. So all these factors actually are all directed towards the person who is the head of that particular organization or institution. Whereas a leader, as I mentioned earlier, coaches others. And I have also mentioned how a leader coaches the team or the members. Then is a boss uses people. Uses people means they tend to make use of their expertise or their efforts in order to gain something. Whereas a leader is that person who believes in the potential of the team or the employees, and their encouragement helps to bring out the hidden talents of the team members, which is something good or positive for an organization, as well as for the person who is putting their heart and soul into that particular task at their workplaces. And moving on, now I come to is the role of a leader. Now, when I say leadership roles, I mean people uh, who are working in an organization. And those people are principals, academic coordinators, uh, university chancellors, college principals, um, coordinators, then is the teachers themselves are leaders. So you see, the the educational leaders, they work according to the guidelines or the vision and mission of an organization by focusing their attention on the operations of the organization in terms of curriculum policy, in terms of staffing, financial resources. They are also responsible for creating or for providing opportunities, guidance, direction, support to the parents, teachers, um, and other stakeholders in order to build a strong educational community. They are expected to serve for a longer time and not to leave abruptly. They are also expected to foster inclusiveness, collaboration, uh, work for the betterment of the organization, and also to facilitate to the professional development services or training of the teachers in order to ensure that the goals of the organization are met. They are expected to show passion for the work. They are expected to take risks, and they are also expected to lead by example. So, and at the same time, leaders are also expected to spend time in upgrading themselves. That means learning from various platforms, and whatever they learn, they are expected to cascade it to their team or to their employees so that the organization is able to function in a better way. Moving on, now I come to is leadership. Is it something similar or is it different? Now, as we can see, that all leaders to a certain degree do the same thing. Whether you are an executive manager or a sports coach or a school teacher, leadership is about guiding and impacting outcomes, enabling groups of people to work together to accomplish what they couldn't do individually. And in this sense, leadership is something you do, something not something you are not. Some people in formal leadership positions are poor leaders, and many people exercising leadership have no formal authority. It's their actions, not words, that inspire trust and energy. In other words, if leader is a person who's entrusted with the responsibility to lead a team or a group of people through their skills or their goal setters. So leadership is the action or the process of carrying out those responsibilities. Moving on. Now I come to is the other differences between a leader and leadership. And those factors are to have a vision is a leader, and to be a visionary is leadership. To be, to organize or to be a part of an organization is leadership, and to influence others is leader. To observe the market trends is leadership, and to anticipate the changes is a leader. To inspire others through action is leadership, and to be an inspiration is leader. To teach others how to perform certain things through responsibilities is leadership, and to be a role model of those actions is a leader. To solve problems is leadership, and to recognize opportunities for the team is a leader. To make a strong decision for the team is a leader, and to take wise decisions on behalf of the team is a leader. To exercise an organizational role is leadership, and to exert an authority in an organization through positive actions and by guiding a team is a leader. And I move on. Now I come to is the most effective leadership styles in education. So what I want you to do is, I want you to tell me what do I mean by these effective leadership roles or leadership styles. Please write your responses in the comments on YouTube. So I continue. Now, the first style, as you see in the screen, is transformational style. Now, the word transformational leadership style, the word transformational, comes from the word transform, which means to change or to alter something. Transformational leadership style encourages, inspires, and motivates employees to create necessary change that would be beneficial for the workplace and organization. And transformational leaders are change agents in the business who can identify what needs to be changed and how it needs to be changed through innovation. Next is the instructional leadership style. Now, in this type of leadership style, it is often associated with principals who manage curriculums, budgeting, and scheduling. They are responsible for the success of each student of their respective schools, and those who become leaders themselves uh, are expected to carry out these responsibilities. And these leaders, they distribute responsibilities more equitably. Moving on. Next I come to is the constructivist style. Now, constructivist style, it requires the leader to understand what's going on all levels, therefore within the organization or the school system. Learners are the ones who control their learning, not the teachers. And teachers provide them with learning opportunities such as group work, interaction during a project work. This helps students to develop an understanding, boost their confidence, and develop critical thinking skills. This leadership style is similar to the transformative leadership style. Next, I come to is the democratic leadership style. Now, it is also known as the participative management. Democratic leader is someone who is asked for input and considers the feedback from the team before making a final decision. This type of leadership can be seen in businesses, educational institutions, and government sector. It encourages collaboration, inclusiveness, participation, creativity, and empowerment. Moving on, it's the emotional style. Now, emotional intelligence is also referred to as emotional leadership or emotional quotient. It is the ability of certain people to realize that their emotions, as well as of others, differentiate them, label them, and manage or adjust depending on the situation or the environment. Emotional leaders tend to remain calm despite the changes in the surrounding. And they also show empathy and are helpful and always think about feelings. Next is the transactional leadership style. It is also known as the managerial leadership style, where leaders rely on rewards and punishments to achieve optimal job performance from their employees. For example, coaches of athletic teams are one example of transactional leadership. And these leaders motivate their followers by promoting rewards for winning the game. And the followers are willing to risk the pain and injury in order to obtain the desired result. Next, I move on to is the authoritative Leadership style. Now, the authoritative leadership style exerts control or authority over the followers. The leader delegates the tasks and explains who needs to do what. Leaders are fair and consistent. It allows teachers to manage their work effectively. So I will just stop over here. This is the end of the part one of the video, and the rest of the leadership styles, along with the rest of the presentation, I will do it in the second part of the video.